All right, guys, big guest on the show. 2021 Cup Series champion. I bet if we had to count, you've probably been on the show as much as anybody. So thanks for coming back.
I've never been in studio, but I feel like we've done a lot of these. Like, not even that long ago, I feel like. But thanks for welcoming me back. It's always fun.
Well, I'm glad to have you in studio. I don't know if you remember this or not, but you won like 10 times a couple years ago. So we were talking to the winners, and you just won every single race.
Okay.
We couldn't have Cliff on. He talks too much.
Yeah.
So
you don't have enough time for Cliff.
And people want to hear from you. So here you are, going into the Daytona 500. What Kyle Larson's offseason look like?
Our offseason has been different than any other year. We got a place in Arizona. So we've been out in Arizona since we closed on it the week of the championship race there, and then been out there ever since. Had a baby. Owen's been playing flag football out there. Kids have just been doing lots of stuff. Owen's been wrestling a little bit. They've been going ice skating. So it's been fun. It's been different. I didn't race much at all. I ran turkey night after Thanksgiving, and then I ran 6 nights in the late model in New Mexico. So typically I run like 20 races between here, New Zealand, Australia. So less track time, but still stayed busy.
You got a dub a couple weeks ago, right? Last week.
At Brunswick at Golden Isle. So that was a fun race. Vado was a lot of fun. Had a few really close races where I ended up second. So going to Golden Isle, it was a good race, and I was not gonna. I didn't want to finish second again, so we aired it out the last few laps, and I was able to sneak by for the win.
That's sweet. What's different about late model guys versus sprint car guys?
Honestly, I wouldn't say much, like, between the people. There's the culture, like, kind of the flow of the night is just the thing that's way different. Competition to me in everything that I race, midget, sprint cars, late models, Cup Series, whatever, like, it's all similar competition. Everybody's tough, all of that. But, like, the flow of the night for a late model race compared to a sprint car race is way different. Like we were talking about before, sprint cars don't have starters, so, like, that in itself makes the nights a lot longer. But sprint cars too, or late models, everybody has the toter homes. So, like, nobody's in a rush to leave. Everybody just kind of, like, checker flag waves, and everybody just kind of relaxes and cooks out or hangs out, drinks and whatnot. Like sprint cars, as soon as you checker flag, it's like a cup race. Like, everybody's, like, in a hurry to leave, like, load up as quick as you can. It's a race to the car wash.
Yeah.
So that would be, to me, the difference. But the competition and all that it's fun because it's all tough.
Is there one that helps that you think translates to the Cup car better or not, that helps you out more?
I don't know. I think they all have their differences, and I think they all in turn help each other. I would say a sprint car to me is more helpful for, like, the majority of our races are 1.5 miles. So I think, racing on 1.5 miles is like racing in a half mile for a wing sprint car. And the dirty air, up until the next gen car, the dirty air stuff was pretty similar. Like, with a wing, you always had to, like, peek out left, and it's a little bit less of that now in the Cup car. But understanding dirty air in a wing sprint car, I felt like helped. And then two, in all of it, well, late models and sprint cars, it's double file restarts too. So, like, it teaches you ultra aggression, for 30 lap to 50 lap races. So I think that part helps a lot.
Well, you see it when you go run one of those midgets or sprint car, the level of your of aggression on restarts in particular, because that's when you got to make the hay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something even, where I run in a Cup Series race, when I went to do that modified race, I was like, are these guys not going on restarts? Or, like, that's just what the pace you get going. It's like, you got to make some hay. So there was an interesting documentary come out on Flow Race and followed you around all year. Give the fans some knowledge of where to tune into that.
Yeah, so Flow, they're a great supporter of mine throughout all my grassroots racing. And last year, there's the midget.
Sweet little midget, Flow Racing. Last
year, they followed me around at a lot of the bigger events. And not only did they follow me around, but, like, at those events, they followed other guys as well. So, like, Chili Bowl, which the first episode premiered, I don't know, a month or so ago. And they followed Justin Grant and myself at the Chili Bowl, which I don't know Justin Grant that well, but watching that documentary, like, it turned me into a big fan of his because his passion is just unreal. And he's so hands-on with everything he does with the car. So, like, fans get a good perspective of that. I feel like I'm kind of boring on there. But, no, but then we did Chili Bowl. I think they followed me and Tyler Courtney at Kings Royal. I don't know. They went to 5 or 6 races. They maybe went to Volusia as well. They picked a bad year to follow me because I don't think I won at any of those races. So, where if they would have followed me there before, it'd have been a lot of winning. But
what do you think was different
last year?
Yeah.
I don't know. I won a decent amount. I ran second a lot, so I got close. I think I had like 20 wins and almost another 20 seconds out of 100 races. So, I mean, almost 50% in the top 2, but I won a lot less.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah,
everybody's like, what the hell is wrong, dude?
I know.
You're like, wait, I about had it one, but he just got me back.
Yeah, no. But, like, so in sprint cars, like, I ran second to Brent Marks a lot. Like, Brent Marks kind of dominated the year last year. Obviously, Jonathan Davenport dominated the year in late models. So, I ran like second and third a lot. But I don't know. I mean, I still felt good, but just didn't have like the extra little bit compared to the field like I did the year before.
When you get back and like you come like the cup shop and people are like, "What happened?" You're like, "Well, they're fucking hard to win, dude."
Yeah.
Like, it's
I know.
I know.
Don't
forget
maybe
that.
looked easy for the previous 2 years, but it's not easy at all. So yeah, and then like as the field gets closer, then like you try harder and then you make more mistakes. Like I made a lot more mistakes last year, I feel like, behind the wheel, which cost me better finishes and probably some wins along the way.
Now, do you think that translated to the Cup side a bit too, winning 9 races plus the All-Star race and the championship, turn around going to 2 wins? What was the difference?
We had 3.
I'm sorry, 3 wins. I didn't do my homework.
No, you're good. You're good.
What was the difference?
I think in 21, Hendrick stuff was like superior to everybody, and that makes your job a lot easier. You know, you're up front, you're restarting on the front row or front couple rows, and you can just like manage the race way easier. Pit crew was on, like everybody was just really confident. And then the next gen stuff, I think the field was just, there was way more parity. So like the field was a lot tighter, and Hendrick was still really good. I think we were probably a top 2 team throughout the year, but it was just tighter. So like, yes, you try harder, whether it be on pit road or on the racetrack, and then like just little mistakes, it seems like the next gen stuff is like magnified for whatever reason. So it was just a tough year for everybody. I feel like nobody really
got on a roll.
I mean, Chase there for a little bit in the summer, but everybody was like up and down. So it was just weird, and kind of had to catch your momentum at the right time, which Joey did. I feel like the last month and a half of the playoffs, like he showed up. So yeah, it was a fun season because it was a challenge, but it makes you, now that you have a year under your belt, you can kind of see where the style of racing is different and try to adjust and hopefully do a good job this year.
Last year felt like 10 years. I felt like every year that I've been in the sport, it's been getting quicker, but last year felt like 10. But do you think there's anything to this saying, and a lot of people say it, that the year after you win a championship is one of your hardest years? Like, did you feel any of those pains last year?
I don't know. No, I mean, stats-wise was down compared to other years for me, but it's like I said, it still was a good year. I don't know. Maybe like your mindset, like at times maybe you're like, oh, I've already won a cup championship. Like what? Like maybe you don't push quite as hard to like continue to get better. Like you get lazy a little bit at different times of the year, but that would be the only thing that I would think would be different. It's just that like you've reached your goal, so it's hard to like continue to push. But then you have a year where you don't win again. It's like, all right, I want to get back to that. So then you work hard again.
How much do you look at like stats? You just mentioned offhand, like Joey, when he was on, I just found it interesting. He said he's always looking at the all-time wins list.
Yeah.
Like he's like infatuated by it. He wants to keep going up. Is that something you even give a shit about?
Yeah, I would say I do.
Where are you right now?
As far as total wins?
Or just on the list? You know?
I have no idea. I know that like I'm probably never going to get to the top, so I guess that's why I don't look at that. Like, obviously I want to get as high up as I can, but I think what I more look at is like the year-to-year stats, like wins, obviously, but not only wins, but top 5s and top 10s and laps led and stuff like that. So, yeah, like I'll look at everybody's stats, like to compare myself to them and where they're at either in that season or if they had a good year. What was their good year? What did that look like? Stuff like that. So, yeah, I look at, what is it, Racing Reference? I look at that quite a bit.
Me too. I got that pulled up in my recent history a lot.
Is there someone that you look at that, like, if you pass them, you feel like your career would be complete, like a Tony or a Jeff? Or is there someone that you have circled on there? Or just...
No, because I don't know where they're at. Like, I know Jimmy's, in the 80s or something, and Jeff is a little bit less than that. Like that, I don't even know if I'm at 20 yet.
Jeff's 90-something.
Okay. So I'm only like not even 20. So I think I would love to. I know. I mean, you
win 9 or 10 a year like that.
Yeah, you clip off like a few of those, but you're still only halfway there. So I know it's a long ways out. I didn't win enough early on in my career, so I think this is my 9th season. So I mean, how many wins did Jimmy have in 9 years?
Bro, he was on a tear.
Right? So, like, I know it'd be hard to get to that.
Now, we're leaning into the 75th anniversary pretty hard this year, whether in the show or in the marketing of the sport. So, in the 75 years, if you had to pick one guy that you want to emulate or try to grow up to be, who was that guy?
I mean, growing up, I was a huge Jeff Gordon fan, huge Tony Stewart fan. I would say I'm more similar to Tony, just in that I still race a lot of dirt stuff. So I guess, emulate him some. And that's why, when I build out a schedule, I'm like, what would Tony do in his prime? Like, he would have wanted to race full season and cup and go race all the dirt stuff that he does. And not only dirt, but other types of cars. So, yeah, I feel like I try to be like what he was in his prime, and I think that's helped grow his fan base a lot, and I feel like it's trended that way for me as well. But I was always a fan of the dirt guys, and Jeff, though, like, I feel like my personality is more similar to Tony's than it is Jeff. Like, Jeff's more like proper and businessy and all that, where like,
dude,
Tony's
you're way closer to Jeff than you are Tony. Tony's crazy, dude.
Well, I mean,
you're way tamer than him.
I don't know. Tony's more of a dirt guy than Jeff is, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Tony just kept racing dirt like you did.
Yeah.
Jeff was, dude, when you look back at Jeff, he's pretty freaking good in midgets and all that stuff.
But he did what he had to do, and then when he moved on, he had moved on. Like he didn't have to go back.
Yeah.
Not that like we had Tony or I did either, but I feel like it was important for our mindsets really to keep having fun doing that stuff.
One thing you're gonna do that's like Tony is Indy 500.
Yeah.
How you feel
Great
about
segue.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was smooth.
It was. He's a professional podcaster,
right?
man.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped about that. And honestly, like, I'm happy that it's gonna be next year, not this year, because man, like, May's not that far away, and I would feel not prepared come 500 time had I was done it this year. So yeah, I'll get to do as much studying as I can this year, and
are you gonna go up there?
I'm sure. I don't have anything planned yet, but yes, I'm sure I'll go there for some practice days and just kind of sit in and see how I would hope like their debriefs and all that work, and meet the drivers and stuff. I grew up around Alexander Rossi, so I know him, but I met Felix Rosenquist a couple weeks ago. He was at the Chevy Simulator.
I saw Alexander Rossi. He was in the simulator the other day too. They were doing, what's the first one? Long Beach? They were doing it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think so. Alex was there the first day, and then Felix came the next day.
Okay.
So I hung out and watched him run a few laps and stuff. But yeah, just go hang out and just try and soak in as much as I can. I'm sure I get my rookie orientation at some point this year, and hopefully another test at some point. But yeah, I want to like not just race it. I want to like feel like I can have a good run and maybe win.
What do you consider a successful weekend?
I don't know. I mean, a top 10 would be great.
Yeah.
I think Kurt kind of sets the bar at 6th or whatever. So
underrated too.
Oh yeah. So like I would love to beat that, but I mean ultimately, yeah, you want to win.
Yeah.
I remember watching Clausen get introduced there and how cool that was. Did you ever is that kind of when your interest peaked, because you were pretty big buddies with him, talking to him about it?
I would say that's probably around when it peaked for sure. I'd always had the thought of wanting to do it. And then like when you have somebody close to you that's running it and you can like really talk to them about it, was neat. And I always remember him saying like, man, like driving the car is super easy. But like when you get racing and in the traffic, like that's when it gets a lot of fun. So, yeah, I look forward to it, and I'm sure the cars have changed a ton since then, so could be a totally different style. But McLaren's got best of the best stuff, and I'm sure they'll continue to get better a year down the road. So I know I'm with a great team, and will have a shot to hopefully win.
What's the timeline on preparation look like? Do they have like, okay, you're going to start running some simulation laps here?
I haven't heard anything yet. Zach Brown, he was in LA for the Coliseum or for the Clash, and yeah, no dates are set. I think he mentioned later in the fall maybe I could do my rookie orientation, I think. And then there's like anything, there's rules with the amount of testing you can do. So I don't think I can do much more testing beyond that anyways. Maybe one other test. And honestly, I would love to do like a road course test, because I feel like you're going slower. You can kind of like, I have no idea, but I would imagine you could like spin and not crash, and like, okay, there's a limit of something. And so yeah, I kind of want to do a road course test. I feel like that would benefit me more than an oval. Like an oval, I feel like you're just confident until you fucking blast the wall at 220. So
you spin out there, you ain't missing. You're going too fast to miss anything.
You don't get a redo at Texas.
No,
no. Is there anything you're nervous about?
No. I mean, the thing that because I've done like the Rolex 24-hour, and like being in those cockpits, like all the dials and switches and weight jackers and this and that, like that's what I'm more like, God, I don't want to mess that up, because like I have a hard enough time when Cliff tells me to turn on a brake fan, like, hearing that and then actually doing it. So when they're telling me to do mapping or whatever to this and mess with this and that, like before the Rolex, they would email you like a 2-page email of like
instruction
manual, like with pictures and graphs and this and that, and like you'd have to memorize it.
Oh man.
So I remember how overwhelmed I was with that. So
when you won.
Yeah, but yes. No, I mean, I know it'll be fine once I do it, but I remember back then, like that's the racing, all that was fine. It was just like, okay, you got to memorize this.
Did you not work your shock adjusters in the Chili Bowl car? Because like I remember that was like a big thing Kevin Swindell always did.
So I don't know anything about shock, so we didn't even run shock adjusters.
Dude,
just drive it, dude.
In that midget I run, there's like a wedge adjuster, and they're like, yeah, just turn that, and I'm the minute I touch it, I'm lost on where it is. I don't know which way I went. I don't know where I'm at.
I was probably the only midget in the building, especially for sure in the A-Main, that didn't have any shock adjusters. The 2 years I won, so I don't. As you guys know, I don't know nothing about a car.
Well, you know how to drive the damn thing, I can tell you that. Now, this is completely unrelated, but was there any, like, there was room, like, very murmurs about, like, some F1 potential tests or anything? Nothing? No, never. I went to Abu Dhabi at the end of 2021 and was just going as a fan, but I mean, I would love to test. But no, I didn't. I've never talked to a team. I've never met any teams. Nothing like that. I would love to, though. That'd be cool. I just think that'd be sweet.
Yeah, but like even with that though, I don't want to just do a seat swap. Like I think that's cool and all, but like I want to actually like
hammer.
Go wrong.
Yeah, like I want to go do a legit test. I would love to do a race. I mean, I know that's impossible. I'm 30 and I'm American, so
the odds are against you.
But
the last one they did with Tony and Lewis at Watkins Glen, I was on the team, and it was more like a commercial.
Yeah,
like
I don't want
5 or 6
I don't want it to be like a PR stunt. Like I think the way Jimmy kind of did it was a little bit better, but even that, I want to be like in a current car and
yeah,
I don't know, like do it real, like not just do a fake PR stunt.
Do you have some, like, once the NASCAR stuff's done, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, whatever, are there bucket list cars and events you want to do?
I don't know. I mean, who knows how long I'll be in Cup, but I've always said I want to spend a year on the Outlaw Tour and go chase a championship. I would love to be able to win an Outlaw Championship, and whatever, say I won an Outlaw Championship, I would love to go try and win a Dirt Late Model Championship and whatever the Premier Series is at that time. So yeah, I mean, nobody's ever done that, so I would want to do that. As far as other races and stuff, who knows? I think like later on down the road, I mean, doing Le Mans or even doing the Rolex 24-hour again, or other fun events that you see guys who are now retired or partially retired go do. I think that would be kind of fun, but it's kind of so far out. I haven't yet thought about that sort of thing. But like the World of Outlaw stuff, that's for sure something I will do someday.
You know, it's not far out. The Daytona 500, buddy. You pumped up, ready to go, or what?
Yeah, I am. It's crazy how fast it always comes, I think. I don't know how you feel, but like it doesn't feel that long ago that we were just taking the checker flag in Phoenix, and it's like, oh, now we got the Clash and then Daytona. So, I'm pumped up. I'm ready. I don't love super speedway racing, but I do love the 500. I love going there and like the atmosphere of that event, and it's the biggest race, so you want to win that one. So, and everybody's got a shot too. So I hope we can go there and have a good run and avoid any wrecks and have something clean at the end.
I mean, the first time you were there was bigger than
yeah.
Dude.
Tell us about that a little bit. 2013, you ended up in the fence, parts in the crowd.
Yeah.
Half the car, your feet were touching the ground, right? When it came to rest.
My throttle pedal's gone somewhere.
Ripped it out?
Yeah.
Holy
I have the car in my shop. So anyways, that wreck, it was wild. It was, you're coming down the end and everybody's just pushing and nobody's lifting. Like, you don't lift, especially with how well those bumpers lined up. But, I can't remember who, Regan Smith or somebody got, turned sideways, and you're just trying to like zigzag through, and I got clipped and hit by Brian Scott maybe, and it like shot me in the air, and, it just gets quiet.
What'd it feel like?
It didn't feel like anything. Like, I think because the fence absorbed a lot of the impact, like I didn't know it was a big wreck. Like I knew it was in the air, but then nothing hurt. And I came down and I popped, like I seen like a little bit of flames come in. So like when it finally came to a stop, I got out quick, and I just like, I'm looking at the score. We're like, man, where did I finish? I know I was running like 8th when this started.
Did I make a bonus or not?
And I seen I was 13th, so I was like pissed. I had no idea that I had not even looked at my car, like I didn't realize the front half was gone. I get in the ambulance, or maybe I did. I think maybe just before I got in the ambulance, I saw the front half was gone. Didn't have a clue that my engine and all that was in the stands. But then I got in the ambulance, and we were driving down pit road to go to the infield care center. I remember glancing out the window, and like there was a section of the stands empty, and that's when I was like, oh, like this is serious. Like you're thinking the worst then, like people are seriously injured, which a lot were, but thankfully nobody lost their lives. But yeah, no, that was crazy, but it didn't hurt at all. And I have the car now too.
We were
which is pretty
pitted
sweet.
directly across from you, whatever car I was on. I forget even who I was changing tires for, but I remember because I knew you, and I remember that wreck, and I was like, holy.
That was my first. It was my first NASCAR
Welcome to the show.
Then you got out, like your demeanor is always the same. Like you don't really show excitement or frustration. You got out and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I remember you were just walking away.
Yeah,
but
I didn't realize like how big of a deal it was.
But like,
big wreck.
But you've had some big wrecks. Dude, that one in New Zealand.
I think maybe if
but
I wasn't a dirt racer, like that would have been like, holy smokes, that's the biggest wreck I've ever had. But like it wasn't. The visuals of it was by far the biggest wreck, but like it wasn't pain wise.
What's the biggest one you ever had?
Probably that one at Eldora, 2012. So we ran Canaan race at Loudon, then I helicoptered to the airport, flew to Eldora for the 4 Crown, won the midget race, and then in the sprint car race, caught a hole into one and like hit the fence a little bit. It was just gonna be an easy tip over. Well, it like tipped over, and then I got hit square in the cage.
Ooh.
And then it started flipping again, and that one hurt. I nosed in really hard once and like got big whiplash. And I was supposed to run the Silver Crown race after that for Tony, and I was just trying to get my together and in the lounge and got changed. I like glanced and they had mirrors, like he's got a nice trailer, and my neck's like I'm like I don't need to be racing. So
who ran it, or just
I think they just parked the car after that.
The
but,
one in New Zealand, you had black eyes.
Yeah, that one is up there too. Yeah, that one hurt a little bit, but like I've never flipped like that fast. So like I remember like flipping and like the G-forces, like my hands are like trying to come up, and then I hit, and I didn't realize like my eyes were messed up then, but I was like, holy shit, that hurt. And
you were in
so
a blender in that.
Yeah, so I like pop out of the car and I'm like, whoa,
busy.
It's just like just like butter, like the I don't know, like little gnats like flying around. So then I get out and I'm standing there and I'm like now my vision's like going black. So I told the safety workers was like, I'm blacking out. So I laid down, and then I went completely blind.
Really?
Yeah. So then I remember, it's black, like I can't see anything. So then I'm like walking. They're
cold trickle.
They're helping me walk
damn.
to the ute or whatever, the like 4x4 to take me to the care center they had there. And obviously I couldn't see, but I could like tell whose voice was talking to me, and it was like the photographer. It was the photographer, and he's like, "Hey mate, put these sunglasses on. Your eyes are swelling up." So
I can't see anything. They're not gonna help.
Yeah. So no, I put them on, and they took me into the care center.
Were the kind you buy for like $19.99 with?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Like
I couldn't see them. So.
Probably pit vipers. Australian pit vipers. Huh?
Yeah, no, they had me laying. They had me laying in the their care center there, and it took like 10 minutes, and then I could start to see like the outlines of people.
Dude, that's scary.
Yeah, I wasn't ever, for whatever reason, I wasn't like scared. I was like, oh, just come back, whatever. But no, I remember like my body must have been in shock because I was like sweating like bad, and the doctor guy was like, oh, like you're sweating. I was like, is that normal? And I remember the safety crew like, yeah, mate, it's normal. It's hot in those suits. I was like, no, this is not normal. I don't sweat this bad. So no, I had to go spend the night in the hospital, and everything checked out fine. No concussion, nothing. Just I blew some blood vessels, and my eye was swelled shut, and some bruising on my face and all that. But I had to. It's like strict there. Like they're called the Speedway New Zealand. So like they weren't gonna let me race. They weren't gonna let me. They said they were trying to tell me that I wasn't gonna be allowed to drive a car for 6 months. So like I'm in this other country, and I'm like, like they're gonna tell NASCAR this. Like I'm not gonna be able to race when I get home and all that. But thankfully, there was like an FIA doctor there, so I had to go get cleared from him, and then I ended up racing the rest of the trip, which was good.
Didn't Tony get himself in a bit of trouble over there
different
too?
deal.
He punched
totally
he punched the water truck guy or something.
That's
like
the first
that.
week I started at Stuart Haas working for him. They were like, yeah, Tony's in jail in Australia.
Yeah, he punched the guy. I didn't punch anyone.
Felt like he got punched, probably.
It was nice though, that the hospital and all that, like you go here and like gotta have your insurance card and all this, and I remember like getting like, oh, I couldn't see, and all my stuff was at the track. So Caitlin's dad was with me. I'm like, hey, you got to get my wallet, you got to get my insurance card, all that. And it's like, no, you don't need insurance here. Like everything's covered. So
good,
this is great.
That's like the old school, like Davey Allison, Ricky Rudd. Like they wreck on Saturday and then tape their eyeballs open on Sunday and go run.
It was cool. I had to miss a week of racing, but I won my first race back, which was pretty. That was a special win for sure. Just because. Yeah, I mean, a week before, I didn't know if I'd be able to drive a car for 6 months.
Because you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from the Terminator, too.
I know. Because I didn't want people knowing, because, like, Lee Spencer, I think, was even there that trip. And it's like, I wore sunglasses all night. Like, suns, like, it's nighttime. And I'm, like, watching races with my sunglasses on. I look like an idiot. But, no, it's cool.
That's good stuff.
And I look tough, I think. Or I look like I got beat up.
You look like that bowler guy that wears shades on the inside just to look cool.
Yeah. Well, you can wear it. We can just say the track was dusty and you forgot your safety glasses.
That's right.
It's all good. What does the High Limit Racing Series look like for you as far as promoting?
So that's been a fun project. It's been a lot of work on a little bit of my part, but more my brother-in-law Brad Sweet. He's kind of like the head of it, and it's been fun trying to build the schedule because it's only 12 races, so we kind of got to handpick where we wanted to go, and logistically needed it to make sense. We kind of follow like the Outlaws tour to try and not only get cars our series, but bring more to help run their stuff as well. And so, running for 23,000 for 10 shows, 50,000 for 2 of them. It's going to be really cool. Midweek too. So there's like late model racing. There's a lot of midweek stuff to run, high paying. Sprint car stuff, there's like none. So we'll be a little bit unique in that aspect, and hopefully get a lot of people to show up to the track. And I know the ratings and stuff on Flow will be really good, but it's been fun getting in the promotion side of it a little bit, and trying to grow the sport in that way, and bringing more money in. So we're bringing in like $1.2 million to wing sprint car racing this year, which is pretty spectacular. And I know a lot of the teams appreciate it.
Dude, you're racing short track stuff for a living. You win a $50,000 Just one.
Yeah.
Right? That could change your whole year.
Yeah. I mean, Brent Marks last year, he made like $600,000. I mean, Davenport, obviously, even without the $1 million at Eldora, he made $1 million. So throw on the $1 million, he was $2 million.
You got a shot at $1 million. You running that?
Yeah, I'm gonna run the sprint car deal this year. Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, that's one you want to win for sure.
What is that?
Million
at Eldora?
Yeah, $1 million to win sprint car race.
That's what's up.
Driving for Silva?
Yeah.
That guy's a stud, huh?
Oh yeah, he's the best. Yeah, he's the smartest for sure.
What weekend is that on the Cup side?
I'll have to fly back and forth between there and Loudon, I think, because they'll do the $1 million like Thursday, and then they have the Kings Royal on Saturday.
Okay.
But they race like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'll definitely run the $1 million. I don't know if I'll be able to make it back for New Hampshire, for Kings Royal. I did it this
Cliff.
year.
Just starting the tail.
No, I did it this year, and they all went with me. But thankfully, the weather was coming, so like they rushed the show along. So the race was done before the sun went down. So we got back to New Hampshire like before midnight. Where typically, when I would go with Tony to watch, like there was one year, my team was pissed at me. But I was racing for Ganassi, and I wasn't even racing. I was just a team owner. So we went to Eldora, and as it always does there, it rains, and I'm hoping Tony's gonna be like, all right, let's just get out of here. Let's go back to New Hampshire. He's like, no, we'll wait it out. Dude, the checkered flag in Ohio didn't wave until like 4 a.m.
On Saturday night?
On Saturday night.
Sunday morning?
Yeah, Sunday morning. So
and that's an hour. Was it an hour ahead there? Or an hour behind?
Eastern. It's
Eastern.
Eastern.
It is? Okay.
But it's like a 2.5-hour flight. So we didn't pull into the track in New Hampshire until the garage was opening. So like we're pulling in the DO lot. All the mechanics are walking down. My team's walking, and I pull in my motorhome right in front of them at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Was Chad
not a wink of sleep?
Shine was still at the time. So yeah, and then we ran like in 33rd. I'm pretty sure we ran like in the 30s that day.
Right away. It's
3
your
laps
fault
down.
for going out.
Yeah, it was my fault. But they forgot to put the caps, I guess, on the wheels. So like the pit stops were stupid slow. We lost a lap putting those on. So like it was my fault.
Yeah,
so,
correct.
But no, that was bad. That was bad news. I was in trouble for a while for that one.
Well, you're a busy man. We all got to head down south. But before you go, we got 3 questions.
Okay.
You've already answered this one because you've been on the show like 12 times. But I'm going to ask you again. I believe, and I didn't pull a tape, but it was some sort of car at Eldora. So if you had to race one race car and one racetrack the rest of your life, what do you go with?
I would probably do a wing sprint car at Knoxville, I would say. Just because it's like consistently good surface, and that's where I would say if you could run like a wing sprint car at the Knoxville Nationals, the biggest race, I think that's what I would pick. I love Knoxville. Knoxville is probably my favorite track.
Yeah.
Eldora is in top 5 for sure for wing sprint car.
What's your top 5?
Knoxville, Tulare, Lawrenceburg, Eldora. I'm trying to think of one else. I don't know. Gosh.
What was your first one?
My first what?
Sprint car race.
Placerville. Placerville, it's the Civil War series. There's like 60 cars. I'm smaller than I am now. First ever race in a wing sprint car.
How old?
14. So, Holly Shelton, who's engaged now to Eric Jones, her dad was my crew chief, and he always had the reputation of being this like tough guy. And so he was my crew chief. I'd only practiced, we tested the car once before, and we were good. I went to this race, and I like could not steer all night. I'm like, I didn't know, but I'm like, I'm tight. I can't turn. So we make it out of the C main, and in the B main, I'm getting lapped, and I wreck like with the leader, destroy the car. Larry is like yelling at me. I'm 14, made me cry. And I'm like, my career's done. I don't want to race sprint cars ever again. But then we get a car together and race, I don't know, a few weeks later. And I think I finished like 4th, but I could steer then. Then I realized I didn't have power steering the whole first night. So yeah, I wish I could have that first night back, but no, it's a good story now. Like
that one. So another good one, hopefully here. What is your most embarrassing moment at a track?
At a track? Why'd you ask that one?
I don't know.
Did you see me?
Did
you see me celebrate after the late model win?
Oh, goodness.
No.
The other night?
I tried to show you that. Yeah.
So I got 2 embarrassing moments. I used to just have 1, but now I have 2. So I'll start with the first one. So we were racing K&N at Dover, and you and Brandon, I think, had your issues. But anyways, that day. But anyways, helicoptered.
No issue.
For the record, I got the trophy.
Well, I didn't realize there was issues until we did that other sit down thing. But but no, anyways, I helicoptered from there. I raced, was going to Williams Grove, I think for like the National Open, maybe, outlaw race, but missed qualifying. First ever night in this guy's car, Tom Book. And so, heat race, you get like a little hot lap in. So I like get way, half lap behind the pace car so I can get, a good corner. And I go down the backstretch, Williams Grove. And this is back when the crowd, like, I was overhyped, as a dirt racer back then. So like Pennsylvania crowd, they did not like me. And so I go to hit the brakes, getting in 3. His brakes worked so good. It hung a left. I hit the wall down the backstretch. Like, hadn't even gotten to the corner yet. And like clipped the wall and like wrecked, bent the frame, parked, driver's side facing the Beer Hill gang, and they're just screaming at me, booing, yelling, making fun of me. So that was very embarrassing. But then, a couple weeks ago, I was pumped, won this late model race, like couldn't wait to go to scales and get back out on the track and like do some donuts and like.
Oh, okay, I did see that.
And so get off the scales, come blowing on the track, like. Get it in gear, like ripping. I'm gonna go, like, I thought I could do like a fast donut, Well, I spin this thing out and instantly. I'm like, oh, I'm backing this thing in the wall. Well, it's like going backwards, and it finally like swung around and hit the nose. So the nose is folded up underneath the front. They got the tow truck over there getting ready to tow me to Victory Lane, I guess. And the Lucas Oil official comes by and he's like, you didn't go to Droop. You gotta get your Droop checked. I'm like, oh. Like now I've crashed this thing and I'm going to get disqualified because I didn't go to Droop, but thankfully they never told me. I would have known if they did or not, but they didn't tell me on the radio to go to Droop. So they let me, so the fenders are folded underneath the front tire. So I had to like get in and put it in reverse and like hopefully drag it back. So then I'm like,
What did Rumway say?
He was just concerned that I was concerned, embarrassed.
Yeah, he's like super nice guy.
And he's like, man, I thought you were gonna cry, and I was like, I wasn't, but if we would have got disqualified, I might have. So,
putting a nose on those things sucks.
I know that is. It's like hours of work. So I felt bad. Yeah, not good.
And then, last question. Thanks for those 2. Those were great. Your first or best racing memory?
We talked about my first racing memory, my first race I wrecked, but I don't know. I've got a lot of good like best memories. So it's hard to pick one. I would say like my first Royal Outlaw win at Chico, first Knoxville Nationals, obviously Cup Championship. But another one that stands out is when I won that late model race at Port Royal. Because I did not expect to go there. That was a big deal. Yeah, like I was hoping to make the show. Honestly, every night I raced there, and won my second night out ever in a dirt late model. And the crowd, I think, they were like, everybody was excited to see me get my, have my debut. And so like the crowd was just packed, and like, I just felt like everybody was cheering for me that night. So that was a really cool one. And like I said, I feel like when you accomplish something that you don't expect to accomplish, like that's when it's really cool.
Yeah, but the chatter before that was, he's good in sprint cars, so why don't you come on over here to late model race and see what the real men do?
Okay. Exactly. And,
cool.
I honestly, I thought the same thing. Like, man, I'm going to come here and like embarrass myself. And like, it's going to make late model racers look so good. And that was never the case about me ever racing a late model was to prove anything. It was just that I wanted to run a new car. So yeah, it was cool to win that one.
That was a big deal.
Good stuff, buddy. And that's your 2021 Cup Series champion, Kyle Larson. You're always welcome on the show, buddy.
Cool. Thank you,
guys. Good
luck
luck down there this week.
Thanks. Thank you. We'll see you down there.